Are you thinking about moving to Austin but wondering what it's going to be like? Well, you could ask an Austin native, except for you're not going to be able to find one, and if you do find one, they're going to tell you that Austin's full. So I'm going to give you my perspective on what it's like to move to Austin from the West Coast, including what's the culture like, what kind of activities are there, where should you live, and everything that you would want to know if you're going to relocate from the West Coast to Austin. So stay tuned. Since 2010, Austin's population has grown almost 25%. And there's quite a few reasons for this. There's a booming job market, it's an affordable city, and there's a fantastic outdoor-oriented culture. You know, I've talked a lot about those things in some other videos, so in this video, I'm going to go through some of the most frequently asked questions about what it's like to relocate to Austin and what it's all about. When you relocate to Austin after spending most of your life on the West Coast, everybody asks you why, and what do you think about it, and what are the big differences? So for me, it was the quality of life. That's one of the best things about Austin. It is a city that is really designed for you to be outside, for you to be enjoying nature, and for you to be enjoying really a lot of activities. It's the live music capital of the world. There is food everywhere. There are parks. It is a very active city. People are out and about all the time, which is something that I really enjoy. And then the second piece is really that culture. It's a much more laid-back city than you're going to find on the West Coast. There's lots of great jobs, there's lots of great opportunities for your career, but people really know how to take advantage of the entertainment in the city and really know how to have as much fun as they do working. And it does have a reputation of being a young city. It is a great city for young professionals. The average age is 34, but it's also surprisingly a very family-oriented city, which I'm going to really talk about in my next segment. A lot of people have said that a lot of West Coast cities are not very family-oriented, and that's definitely something that's different in Austin. This is a very family-oriented city. You know, you've got great neighborhoods with local schools. You see kids walking to school. You got basketball hoops in the driveways. You just see a lot of people out and about all the time. And then you've also got a lot of great establishments that are designed for families. Like this right here is one of many restaurants. You got made-to-order burgers, you got room for the kids to play, and of course, you've got beer and wine for the parents as they hang out, chat with their friends while the kids run around. And there's just a lot of establishments that are really set up for that family environment to be able to go out and enjoy time together in Austin. People always ask me what to expect when relocating from the West Coast to Austin, and there's kind of three things that I think catch a lot of people by surprise. So one is, it is true, everything is bigger in Texas. So things can be further away than you might be used to, but there's not the traffic that goes with it. You know, on the West Coast, it can take you an hour to go 10 miles, versus in Austin, you might go somewhere every day that's 20, 25 miles away, but it's not going to take you nearly as long. And then the second thing, of course, is that Texas gets hot in the summer. It's hot and it's humid. It can break 100 degrees in August. So there's going to be parts of the year where you're going to do more indoor-focused activities or water-focused activities as you're kind of navigating the heat. But that's not really that different from being on the West Coast. It's just instead of spending the summer times outside, you'll be spending some of the winter times outside, unlike the West Coast. And then the last piece that always comes up is property taxes. Property taxes in Texas are high, but there's no state income tax. So if you're coming from California, it's going to seem like a breeze. You'll pay a little bit more in property tax, but you're not going to pay any state income tax. So it's definitely going to be in your favor overall to pay the higher property taxes in Austin. Another question people always ask about moving to a new city and moving to Austin in particular is, how are you going to meet new people? Well, one of the things that I found in Austin is that it's actually really easy to meet people. If you're from the West Coast, you're going to find it probably much easier to meet people in Austin than you actually did in the West Coast. And part of it is because there's so many new people here, everybody is kind of having that same mentality. Everybody is looking to meet and make friends in a new city. And then there's also just kind of a very friendly culture. When I was talking about the culture earlier, the culture in Austin is very open, it's very laid back, it's very friendly. So it's really easy to talk to people, it's really easy to make friends, and it's really easy to find people with like interests, even though you're brand new in a new city. So there's always a lot of questions about culture. If you're going to move somewhere new, you want to make sure that you're going to fit into the culture. And what I'll say about the culture in Austin is it is just very friendly and very welcoming. There's some little cultural quirks. You got to get used to the language differences. My grandma lived in Texas for a long time, so I was used to y'all. But when you get down here, you're definitely going to notice the y'all is kind of a way of life. Not only is it in language all the time, but everybody is very welcoming and very engaged with each other, but then also kind of leaving people to go about and do their own thing. People don't care about your business as much as they do on the West Coast. There's a stigma in Seattle called the Seattle freeze, which is basically people are unfriendly, which if you don't see the sun for 8 months at a time, that might happen, or the stigma from people from California that are unfriendly. But in Austin, that is not the case. This is a very friendly city. That Southern hospitality is really expressed through everybody's actions and behaviors. They're welcoming, but then also people stay out of your business. So it kind of gives you a really nice balance of culture in the Austin area. I'm a real estate agent, so of course the conversation I'm having almost every single day is what neighborhood should I live in? And that's one of the great things about Austin, and really a big difference between the West Coast and being in Austin, is that you can really live in any kind of neighborhood you want and not be that far of a commute from work. If you're on the West Coast and you want that more suburban feel or that rural feel, you're probably going to be commuting for an hour. And in Austin, you really have a lot of choices that are all pretty close together because of the diverse topography of the area. So the problem with that, though, is it can become a little overwhelming because you've got so many different choices. So that's where I come in. So if you want to move to Austin, let's really talk about what you want, and then we can find you a great neighborhood that's going to be within your budget and within commuting distance of where you want to spend most of your time. So you can love the culture in Austin, but the question is going to come down to how affordable is it and what's the cost of living like? So Austin has definitely gotten more expensive over the past few years, but it is still more affordable and a better cost of living than most West Coast cities, especially when you take into account the growth, the job opportunities, and everything else that you can get in the city. So I hope that you found this video helpful if you're thinking about relocating to Austin or you've relocated recently. I'm Matt Van Winkle. I run the Leverage team here at Austin. We want to be your go-to resource for all things Austin and all things real estate. So if you have a question about either one of those, just send us an email at info@austin.realestate, and we'll see you next time.